Hey all, this is 012Boku, and I'm coming at you with another review of the Cosby Show, Season 4. That is right, we are up to episode 3, I believe. Yes, It Ain't Easy Being Green. This one definitely was a interesting episode because it dealt more with Rudy, and there was a side thing of a couple side things. Robert was back in this episode. If you guys don't know who Robert is, he's on again, off again boyfriend, friend of Vanessa's, who's a bit annoying. And then you have Rudy being the focus. Theo's in the episode a little bit, and things like that. But what happens is you have Heathcliff Huxtable trying to get rid of a water heater that, went out from the house. He, put a bow around it, gave a note to the sanitation department, trying to, basically gussy them up, showing how much he appreciates them. He even calls the sanitation department saying if the trash compactors are running to pick things up, and he's like, I voted for you. I voted in the last election to increase the pay raise in Brooklyn Heights and beyond. And I'm sorry you didn't get it, and it's like, so he's like really trying to lay it on thick because he wants them to take this water heater and, get rid of it. So, because the thing just got old and died, and I think he has a new one, but it's like, he needs to get rid of the old one. And I forget what he called it, but he was like speaking, French to it and doing his own personal version of taps. And it was all that type of stuff, pretty funny things. And then it goes on between that and Rudy, who's going to a friend's birthday party where it's like around the time of fall and it's getting colder out, and it was sort of warm the day before, but she wants to wear this summer dress. And Claire, who sees it, says, didn't we put all your summer clothes away and it's cold out, I don't really want you wearing that. Vanessa really wants to wear the dress, and her and Claire get into a bit of a spat to where Vanessa keeps sort of begging. Claire doesn't want to hear anything about it, and she wants Rudy to put away the dress, to where Rudy, refuses a little bit. And then you have where, Heathcliff Huxtable's back in the house and, just like trying to read and, do things, and then all of a sudden, Robert is at the door. He lets Robert in. Robert, and him keep talking, and there's a car book on the coffee table, and Robert's like, "Is that your car book?" I would assume so. It's in my house. And he's saying how he wants to buy a Aston Martin, 1934, I think, 37 Aston Martin, and then Robert says, it'd be better to give that to charity, and goes on and on about what wise men say, as he usually does. And, Heathcliff goes, Robert, here's the thing. Me, Mrs. Huxtable gives to a lot of law charities. I give to a lot of medical charities. And together, we also give a lot of charities to the community. So I want this car because I think I've earned it. So please don't ruin a man's dream. Robert wants to talk about relationships and how he fails at that, because apparently he still has not found anyone to fall in love with. And Heathcliff doesn't want to listen to it, and he asks Robert to wait outside, as he's like, you can think your thoughts and I'll take them inside my mind and I'll keep them so we can talk about it later. And, so he gets Robert out of the house, and Rudy comes down, still in the dress. She wants to ask if her dad can look at something. He says, yeah. She comes down and she says, Dad, what do you think of this dress? And he's like, I love it. You look fantastic. You look great. And then, Rudy's like, can I wear it to the party? And Heathcliff's like, oh, you can wear it. That's fine. My angel, go ahead. You look smashing and you look great. So Rudy hugs her dad. She's all happy because she thinks she's got what she wants. Claire comes in and, Rudy sees, Claire there, and then Heathcliff's like, oh, Claire dear, how's it going? Your mother's here now. Doesn't she look adorable? Show the dread. Rudy doesn't want to come and attach her dad because she doesn't want to show her mom she's still in the dress. Claire sees it though and demands that Rudy go change, and so Rudy goes off in a huff, not still wanting to change, but does it because her mom gave the order. And as it goes on, you have where Claire's a little upset for Heathcliff for almost giving in to their daughter. And Heathcliff's like, well, I didn't know, and I didn't know what you guys talked about before, so I didn't know. And she's like, we have to check with the Cliff. And it's like, we'll see all this checking. You have to check with the checker, and the checking with the checker, and the next check. So it's just a funny thing. It's like you have to check with things, and then she's like, well, next time it happens, Cliff, you can just ask me. And then Heathcliff's like, all, like all ticked off, because, like, just sassing back to her, just mouthing off on, what he has to do and whatnot. And then, Rudy is in a different change of clothes. She's sitting out there on the couch. Vanessa and Robert are about to leave for the mall, where Robert was also, I guess, talking with Theo a little bit about relationship advice and how he keeps breaking up with, like, I think he said 12 different women this year, or just all these different things, and, how he's like, hope springs eternal in the afterglow, and maybe we can have a thing and, just go on with life. And, Vanessa is trying to be nice to hook Robert up with a girl, and he hopes it works. And Theo sort of mocks Robert a little bit, but, Robert doesn't catch on. And, they go to the mall. You see Vanessa asks, what is it? Oh, yeah. Rudy asks Vanessa, is that what you're wearing? And, she's wearing just a simple jacket and some clothes. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, you shouldn't wear it. It's not that, warm out. And she's like, well, Rudy, I can wear what I want, and she leaves, and then Rudy goes to the kitchen with Theo, and, Theo's like just in his clothes and whatnot. He says, what's up? And, Rudy doesn't say anything, and then, Theo's wondering what's got Rudy down. Rudy tells him, and Theo's like, well, I can wear what I want because I'm 17. You don't have to judge me for what I'm going out in. And he's like, I had to go all this way close to being an adult before, how things were. That's sort of what being a kid is. And he's like, hang in there, you only got 9 more years. Sort of rubbing it in Rudy's face too before he leaves. And you have it to where she goes into a room, and then it plays the title of the episode, which is a Ray Charles song, and Ain't Easy Being Green, to where, there's like this little overture, bit of montage where Rudy's in her room, sad, not knowing what to do, just bored. She keeps staring at her dress, liking how she looks, and then she's, still depressed about it, that she can't wear it, and, all the things that she would like to do, and, just has all these plans. She wants to do what she can, and she thinks it's because she's a little kid. So the story goes on. Heathcliff comes down the stairs a little later, and he hears the garbage truck. He looks outside. They didn't take the water heater, and he's upset. He's like, you forgot the water heater. You forgot to take it. And, we've all been there when they don't grab our trash or anything like that. So he's upset about that. Rudy comes out wanting to talk to her, and he asks her what's wrong, and she's like, I'm a kid. I can't have anything or do anything. My life is terrible. And he's like, what makes you think your life's terrible? And then she says about how it stinks being a kid. She's not an adult. She can't wear what she want to wear. And Heathcliff's like, well, your mother is sort of in charge of that, as am I. But, your mother sort of has the upper hand on that. So if anything happens, I get the blame. And then, if I don't check with the checkers, then, stuff gets out of hand. There's all these things, Cliff does what he can, just sort of like stepping inside, playing around with Rudy, and just like, fooling around with her a little bit, and, just having fun with his daughter, trying to do what he can to cheer her up. And it sort of works, but it also doesn't. But then he's like, hey, climb up those steps there. She does, and then he says, okay, get on my back. She does, and then he climbs up the stairs. He's like, we're going to go up into your room. We're going to pick out some nice fall clothes for you. Nothing that's summer, nothing that's that. So we're going to pick out something that, you can wear for the season, and that you can wear for this party that you like. So what happens is you have Theo is back at home, and Robert and Vanessa come back, and Vanessa says Robert came on too strong with the girl that she was trying to set him up with, and he's like, I did not come on too strong. And she's like, you asked him you asked him out for the senior prom. The senior prom, isn't that like 2-3 years away? And he's like, and she's like, yeah, he did that. And he's like, I wanted to do a big commitment because I want to plan ahead. And, Robert is just like, it's like, dude, yeah, not something that's far away, Robert. Come on, use your head, man. But, Claire comes into the living room, and then you have Heathcliff, who's set up by Christmas lights on the stairs, and then he comes out acting all suave and debonair, sort of like a sheriff who's about to put on a show, sort of like this. And, he introduced Rudy in a nice fashion. She's in a dinosaurific costume that looks so fashionable for the time. Rudy Huxtable. And, he's like laying it out like a big fashion show. Rudy's playing into it. And, she's having a lot of fun. Obviously, she likes what she's picked out. Everybody applauds her. It's a great moment for her. She feels a little bit better about herself. And then, Claire's happy to see her, and Claire's like, Rudy, would you still like me to take you to the party? And then she says, yes, mother, I may. And then, they both sort of walk like that, like, sort of like the pussy feminine walk. And, they head to the door, and, Rudy, being more responsible and upbeat about this now, apologizes to her mom about getting angry about the dress and not listening to her and not understanding what her mom wanted for her at the time, and that, that she's right, she should have wore something more for fall, not for summer. And, they're about to get ready to go to the party, but then she, looks at her mom before heading out the door, and she says, but you know what, I still really like the other dress a lot. And, they leave for the party, and that's the end of the episode. I mean, overall, like I said, straightforward episode, pretty much not too much going on, but it really fleshes out Rudy as a growing kid, growing up and trying to do more of her things, and wondering, why she can't be like her other brothers and sisters who are a lot older than her. But, it's just showing how she's still growing. She still has fun with her dad. She still goes to the party. She's not as upset or sulky about it anymore. But as kids, we really want to do our own thing, and we beg our parents. We beg our parents a lot. And a lot of times, we don't get our way. We don't understand that there's certain ways and how we have to go about things, and there's certain manners that we have to keep in mind when living under other people's roofs, and that we have to respect that. And if sometimes it's no, it's no. And I know a lot of times I have a hard time dealing with that as kids, but at the same time, you just have to sort of like lay the law down, not terribly, but just explain it to them in ways, and sometimes fun ways, that it can be understood. And I mean, I get that. I did that as a kid. Pretty sure a lot of us did that as children too. So it's really a lot of fun. I mean, again, in this episode, I'll probably give big props to, again, Keisha Knight Pullman, Rudy Huxtable. She really weighed on the emotion really well in this episode, and being a kid and just being a disappointed kid. I have to give it to Bill Cosby, Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable, Felicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable. The whole parenting moments they had in the show were pretty good and enjoyable. And I have to also give it to Dondre Whitfield, Robert Foreman, because Robert just being this philosophical teenager who thinks he understands what he's doing but really doesn't, is just funny and always a hoot to see. So, again, pretty enjoyable episode all around. But again, have you guys seen this episode? Have you watched any of the show? What do you guys think of the Cosby Show Season 4 so far? Season 4, Episode 3? Just leave it in the comment down below and we'll get this discussion going. Until then, I will see you guys later, alright? 1-2 Boku. Bye-bye.